What's up, guys? Black Hills Project back today to talk about GPR builds. Today we're going to talk about my 14.5 general purpose rifle, or RECCE Rifle, or SPR, or whatever buzzword you want to call it. But yeah, for me, it's definitely more of a general purpose rifle. So we're going to start out and just do a really quick brief rundown of what's on this rifle and really what the important pieces are. And then we'll go on to talk about the performance, why this rifle is set up the way it is, and stuff like that. So really there's just a few parts that are really important to me to a rifle like this. One is going to be your barrel. We've got a 14.5 LaRue Stealth barrel in there with a 1-in-7 twist. And that barrel has been really accurate for me, putting up 1 MOA to sub MOA groups with quality ammunition. I chose a 14.5 barrel because it's just a little more adaptable to whatever I want to do. Again, leading into that general purpose rifle idea.
It's not too long, it's not too short.
Yeah, still pushing good velocity, but still short enough to, throw in the back seat, carry in the tractor, whatever. So one of the really important things on a build like this is going to be the barrel. The other thing is going to be your optic setup. On this, I opted for a Strike Eagle, Vortex Strike Eagle 3-18. It is definitely a more budget-friendly optic, but I've been really impressed with it so far. Ended up going with something like this over like an LPVO or a 2-10 because of where I live. There's a lot of wide open spaces, so that extra magnification to be able to see out and identify stuff, or going coyote hunting, seeing coyotes further away, picking them out of the grass and stuff like that is really useful to me. And this scope has all the options that I wanted, like first focal plane, a good mill reticle, locking turrets, good zero stop, et cetera, et cetera. And then we also have a hollow sun red dot mounted up top here. Again, a more budget option, but it has done a really good job for me so far. I like that it has a solar feature, so I can just leave it on all the time on that solar feature, and it'll automatically adjust my brightnesses, and it'll or I can also switch it over to battery and control my brightness manually. So I like it for that. And again, it is just a backup optic, so it's not my main optic. So that's comfortable going with something like a hollow sun, although I hopefully in the future will be able to upgrade it to something like an aim point. So the rest of the gun is more kind of personal preference.
Yeah,
I would say those are the two main things when you're looking at like a GPR. Those are going to be your two main things that are really important. Some other things that are really going to improve your experience are going to be a quality trigger. We've got a Geissele trigger in here. If you're trying to take longer range shots, that's obviously going to be really important.
it's a lot easier to be consistent with a good trigger.
It can definitely be done with a mil spec, but it's more difficult.
Yeah. This is more unpleasant, I'd say, is more of
That's a good way to put it. Another thing is going to be a good bipod. I mean, this is just a Harris bipod, but they're well known. They work great. They're fairly affordable compared to some stuff, and it does a good job.
Yeah, and just take it from two dudes that have been running fake ones for the past 5 years. The real one is much better.
It doesn't.
It's a lot more expensive, but it is. There's a reason it's more expensive.
Yeah, and
I never really thought it would be worth paying more for over a $20 cheap Amazon one that looks exactly the same, but it is. You have to kind of mess with them to understand both of them, and the real ones are way better.
And this M-Lock version, I believe, is only like 150.
Yeah,
something like that. So it's still fairly affordable. And then the last thing that's going to be really key to a gun like this is going to be your ammo.
Yep.
We both went to large caliber guns in the last couple of years because we wanted to try and shoot like 800, 1,000 yards. And we've been shooting 55 grain like Wolf and PMC and stuff like that through our guns, and we're like, they're just not capable of it. And then you were able to grab some 77 grain, some SMK.
Yeah.
And that really unlocks the potential.
Yeah, even before either of us built out longer guns, I was shooting it out of a 11.5, and we were hitting 500 yards with a red dot magnifier. So that's what prompted me to build my rifle that we've talked about in the past, and that's what is prompting you to build this one. So
Yep. Yeah,
it's cheap ammo and it's
Yep.
really good. So
sold my 308 AR-10 to build this, and I've been way happier for what I'm doing right now. So that's
more
gonna,
than half the price of
oh yeah, like a third of
like
price
the
of ammo.
cheapest 308 ammo is still like 3 times as much as
Yep.
the ammo that we've been using in these.
Yeah, so this allows me to actually go out and shoot a lot and train with it, as opposed to the 308. I'd like shoot a couple boxes of ammo and be like, well, that's, all I can afford to do for, this month.
Yep.
So yeah, that's one of the big advantages of this platform, and that's going to kind of lead us into performance. So we did quite a bit of shooting with this rifle this weekend, everything from like 8 yards out to 800 yards, and it performed all the way there and in between. With this top-mounted red dot, I'm used to doing a lot of shooting with an ACOG with a top-mounted dot, so it feels very natural to me. It is a little bit higher, but it felt very natural to me, very quick to acquire. With this riser back here, I do still get a bit of a chin weld, and it does make it really nice shooting with the scope too. Again, with that barrel and ammunition combo, that 77 grain OTM that I've been shooting, 550 yards was a breeze, like popping off 2 rounds before I was even seeing impacts, and then hearing the impacts come back, seeing the plate move. So that was a lot of fun. 800 got hits, not as consistent, but we were dealing with good 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. It was almost
The fact that we were still hitting it at
at
20
800.
30 with 5.56 is, again, it's impressive. I don't know.
And it's 100% due to that barrel and ammo combination.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you'd be doing that with Wolf. But
Yeah. And like I said, the struggle really at 800 was the wind. Elevation was on the whole time.
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
We had good dope. Both
yeah,
of
it
us.
reaches it. It
Yeah.
reaches it just fine. It's just the
100%.
wind that we have to kind of fight with, especially in the terrain that we have. We've got a lot of hills that
Yep.
kind of jack up the wind calls. So
But yeah, a lot of different. Yeah, it could be 0 there and 30 here. It's very strange. So that was the biggest struggle, and with a smaller round like this, it's to be expected. But we also did some night vision stuff. Again, top mounted dot, passive aiming through the night vision was really smooth, easy. Got a OTOL IR laser up here with a Unity button, and then just a IR illuminator. I've got the air socket head on there right now. Sometimes I swap over to a Surefire dual IR and white light head, but that's been a great setup. So the performance is really like all encompassing.
Yeah.
And that's the idea behind this rifle, is that it's not, oh, we're gonna go shoot 800 now. Hold on, I need to run and grab that rifle.
Yep.
We're gonna go shoot, off the VTAC barrier now. Okay, I gotta grab the 11.5. The idea behind this rifle is that you can do all of that with one gun, and it's just ready to go. That is the gun.
Yeah, and honestly, the only downside is the weight, which, I mean, you put a lot of stuff on the gun, it's going to be heavy. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
long the gun is. If you put all this crap on an 11.5, it's still going to be heavy. So
Yep.
it's weight I see as a big factor when people complain about this size of a rifle, which I'm not going to discount that, but at the same time, if you want the functionality that a rifle like this would offer, even in a smaller form factor, it's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
do we take the pound or pound and a half to get an extra barrel, like an extra 4 inches on the barrel? I would say obviously the answer is yes. But again, we're kind of making these videos to highlight what we've done and kind of highlighting things that work for us, don't work for us. We preach that no one setup is perfect. So
pros and cons to everything, give and take.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the thing with this rifle, it does everything decently, and because of that, it's heavy.
exactly.
Yeah. And a big part of that is that LaRue barrel. It is a very thick profile barrel, but also, I mean, you could drop, your laser and light. You could go to an LPVO with like a pistol dot, and you'd shave a lot of weight, get rid of the lot folder, go to a thinner profile barrel, and it'd be super light. But now you're not going to do as well at 800. You're not going to have as efficient of night vision capabilities, and
Your grouping's going to open up quicker with the
light
thinner barrel.
Yep.
So it's give and take. I mean, you get one thing, you get rid of one, and this, again, for you, it works perfectly. For me, it might not work as well. For you, it might not work as well, or whatever. And that's why you just kind of try stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of our thing is you go try it until you like it. And if you don't like it, then get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do something else.
And that's kind of like the why behind this rifle is in the past, we did that. We'd build like your 10.5 with your red dot and your like night vision stuff. And then you'd have like your 16 or 18 inch with a scope and, maybe a light on it. So it was like, oh, let's go shoot up close. Now we're going to go back and just try and shoot some long range. Well, we got to switch rifles.
Yep.
And it's like for one thing, it's just a pain in the butt. Like,
right. I mean,
and it's not practically realistic.
No. I mean, and the reason that I really started trying to just build one rifle, and the reason why I went with the Block 2 over anything else was because I hated coming out here because I live in a city. I can't really shoot a whole lot. I come out here to shoot, and I don't want to bring 3 rifle cases and everywhere I go when I'm out here. I want one gun in the passenger seat or wherever I'm at, and that's what I'm going to shoot for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And it rubbed off on him, it rubbed off on me, and that's how this whole thing started. And it's complete ease of use, and you sacrifice a bit of weight, but you can do everything.
Yeah.
And that's worth it to me. Go lift some weights or something. I don't know.
And that's not to say that we're against having multiple guns. Obviously, we like having guns.
Right.
But if you're talking about, you just have to be careful about doing very specialized builds when you're talking about a general purpose use, if that makes sense. It's like I'm like, obviously if you're shooting PRS, you're gonna have a super specific gun for that.
Yep.
But if you're talking like your go-to like crap's hitting the fan, this is my rifle, and it's like only a 10.5 with the red dot, maybe where you live that would be great. But where I live, I'm going to need everything from, like I said, from like 8 yards to 800 yards. So this rifle is kind of my answer to that problem.
Yep.
So this has been a really brief overview of my GPR rifle. And like we already said, this is not to say that this is what you need to build. This is what's going to work the best. And this gun is probably going to be upgraded and grow as I use it more and more. But this video is to say, hey, here's an example of a GPR, and it's working really well for me right now, and to try and share some of the lessons and things that we're learning about this type of rifle.
Right. And that's not to say that this is just, we threw this together and called it good. This has been something that's kind of taken, I think, you about 5-6 years to actually finally decide on. This is the one. And, like you said, he'll probably swap the optics out, swap something out on it, but as of right now, the footprint it's at the top of where it could be.
Yeah, it's performing well at everything we've attempted with it so far.
Right. The only things that would be changing is just tweaking for the highest performance.
Yeah.
Right now it's working and it does everything. So
yep. Like I said, long range, close range, night vision. We've been doing all of it, and we did it all again this weekend, and shot some B-roll for you guys that you'll be seeing, but it just does it all well. And then I'm really excited about it, really content with it. And that's over, like you said, years of trying different builds, different types of rifles, and finally coming back to this and being like, hey, this is what's really working for me. So
right.
Yeah, if this type of video is helpful to you guys, let us know in the comments. We're really doing this stuff, one, because we enjoy it, but two, because we really wish there would have been videos around like this for us like 5 years ago.
Yep.
So I wouldn't have had to spend all that money and sell all that stuff.
And sell thousands of dollars more.
Yeah, to get to this. So that's why we're making this stuff, is to try and help you guys out, help you save money, and just give you some ideas. So we definitely have some other rifles we could go over. We have gear we can go over. Let us know what would be beneficial to you guys, and we'll try to accommodate.
Yep.
So, yeah, until next time, guys, this is my GPR. We'll see you around.
See you next time.